Hi guys, welcome to today's video and to my channel if you're new here. I'm Debbie if we've not met before, and in today's video, as you know from the title, we're going to be talking all about fall eyeshadow palettes. I've seen a number of these videos floating around on YouTube just recently, so it's inspired me to film my own. I'll drop a few links for other videos that I've seen down in my description box if you want to see some other videos like this. But I just love talking about eyeshadow palettes. I know you guys like to see them as well. So I'm going to be talking about 14 palettes from my collection that I think are perfect for fall. So if you want to see what they are and maybe be inspired to pick them up and use them again if you own them, then please keep on watching. Okay guys, let's get into it then. So there's not going to be a ranking in this video. I'm just going to literally be talking about them really. I find them quite hard to rank. I like them all for various different reasons. So I think, you know, it's just nice just to show you them really and give you some inspiration of which ones you might want to pick up out of your collection if you have them. Most of these are older palettes, they're not kind of brand new releases, so it might encourage you to shop your stash as well. So the first one up is a multi-use palette and it's by Hallberg. It's the Infinity Deep. But your colour story in that one is all your rich kind of amber, orange, red kind of tones. And yeah, I think when I'm starting to transition into fall, these are the kind of colours that I really enjoy. I think I've got the falliest top on, if falliest is a word, it is now. The most fall top ever on. It's one that I always bust out. I've had this top about 4 years and I always bust it out at this time of year. And it just matches these kind of colours so well. So it just reminded me that I haven't used this palette in ages and I think I really need to create a look with it soon. But really good quality. It's multi-use, so you can use it in your brows, on your cheeks, highlighter, whatever you want really. So it's for deeper skin tones in mind, but I use most of these as eyeshadows and I bought it for the red one, of course, because I love red eyeshadow. Next up, I've got the Sassy Siennas, which is a very reflective palette. Pull this one out because it's the most orange colour story ever and really does scream fall to me. It's all of that sort of leaves turning kind of orangey colours, just warm and toasty. It's just really pretty. So this is Dose of Colours and the lip that I'm wearing at the moment is by Dose of Colours. It's Campfire and I love the combination of these two together as like a monochromatic look. Don't bust this out too often because it's all matte, but it has got really good quality. I've got most of the Dose of Colours small palettes like this, the £5, and they're all really good. Next up is one of the biggest palettes I'm going to be showing you. It's a Morphe palette. And I don't have too many Morphe palettes that I actually enjoy, but this one is really good. So this one is the 35M and it is reflecting a bit because it's quite a reflective background on it. But all of these tones here are your grungy greens, you've got your orangey tones. It's got some purples as well and cranberry tones, so it can sort of take you into sort of winter looks and party looks as well. But when I think of fall, this is the first one I think of. And this one's been going for a song on Morphe's website. I think it's been like £14 just recently. I bought it when it first came out and I've had a lot of fun with this palette. I need to use it on my channel. I bought it before I started my channel, so I've never done a video with it. So if you guys would like to see me do that, please let me know because it's one of the better Morphe palettes and a really beautiful colour story. It's not one of their ones with 35 shades of brown, you know, it's got variation on all the tones and some really beautiful colours in here and pretty good quality as well. Staying with Morphe, to my shame this palette I've never used actually, and it's the 18B or Making Bank palette, and I bought it to do a comparison video with another palette I'm going to talk about and I just never got around to doing it. But again, it's got all of these grungy green tones, it's got pops of like a autumnal kind of yellow, some oranges in there. It's a lot more in the grungy green kind of family than some of the others I've shown you, but I think definitely has that fall vibe about it. Really pretty. Can't comment on the quality because, as I say, I've not yet used it. Moving on to what I'm wearing on my eyes right now. This is one of my favourite palettes for fall. This one is the Purr by Menagerie. I don't think this one got the hype it deserved of all of the Menagerie palettes because I think everyone that loves Menagerie loves really bright colourful palettes, and this one wasn't quite such a colourful colour story because it is a fall colour story. But it's definitely not a neutral palette, you know, there's a lot of greens and oranges, like my lower lash line is this colour here. I've packed the shade Torch by Urban Decay, one of the 24/7 liners, in my waterline and on my lower lash, and then buffed it out with that shade, which is called The Hunt there. And I've got that shade on my lid, which is Lioness, and I've got that to deepen up, and the green in my crease, and it just makes such an easy fall colour. And then that shade Drought I've got as like a brow bone highlight, and it's just something a bit unexpected as a brow bone highlight. So I really love this palette, and it's perfect for fall time. Next up, I've got two palettes from Melt, one of which I've not used and one that I have. So this is the palette I was talking about that I was going to do the comparison with the 35B from Morphe, and it's the 420 by Melt. I've heard terrible things about this palette. I've yet to try it, so I can't tell you. People say it's very difficult to work with, difficult to blend. I've never had any problems with Melt, so we'll need to try it very soon. I just had other things coming in or not enough time to film, but the colour story, you cannot deny, is fall in a palette. It's just absolutely gorgeous, from the green tones right up to the sort of amber colours and yellows and bronzes. It's a full dream of a colour story. The only drawback in this palette is there's only one shimmer, but you can't deny it is a beautiful, beautiful colour story. But the other one that makes me think of fall by then is the Rust palette. The Gemini does as well, but I don't own the Gemini, so I wish I did, because I'm on a kind of mission to collect all of the Melt palettes. So I probably will pick it up. But that's the Rust palette. Again, a lot more bronzy, rusty kind of tones, amber tones. No green in this one, but still very fall appropriate. And this one does work really well. I've used it a couple of times and really enjoy the quality of it. It blends really nicely. It does kind of a one look kind of thing, you know, you're going to get very similar looks. I can really get 2 or 3 looks out of this that look different, but what it does it really, really well. Next one, I was like, do I include this because it's not strictly fall? It's probably more Christmas, but I think it's got a lot of fall tones in it. So the Gingerbread Spice, this is the original one from Too Faced. They've had the Gingerbread Extra Spicy, and this year they've got the Pumpkin Spice. Kind of tempted on that Pumpkin Spice because I love these kind of tones, but that's all the shades in that one. And I think this is some of the shades, like there's some orangey tones, greens and yellows in here. There are all the pinks, which are a bit more kind of festive kind of shades, but this end of the palette definitely screams fall to me. And I always think of it at this time of the year, moving into sort of fall into Christmas kind of season. That still smells so much of the gingerbread kind of fragrance, and I've had that palette for, when did that come out? 3 years ago, I think. Yeah, so it still smells of it now. We haven't had so much green just recently, so I thought I'd bring some green back into this full video. So we've got the Kaleidos Sci-Fi Green, which is their Futurism 1 palette, and this one has got both greens and those amber tones. So that's the tones in the palette. Super, super grungy and green, but you've got those ambery golds as well. So I think this one screams fall and is one of the easiest fall palettes to work with. I think you've got 6 shades, you've got a black to deepen up, you've got beautiful lid shades in there. Every shade performs really well. Beautiful palette. Next up, I've got one that I think everyone might think of if you think of fall colour stories, and that's the Tribe by Juvia's Place. This one sadly has been discontinued. I don't know why, because so many people talk about this one as being their favourite Juvia's palette, and for good reason. It's just a gorgeous colour story. This one's got everything that you think of for fall. It's got some beautiful duochrome lid shades. It's got some unusual tones in here. The oranges are beautiful. That really bright, spicy sort of lime green is stunning. It's just such a good palette and such good quality, and it will always stay in my collection and be one that I will think of for fall, because yeah, I just love it. I think one of the classics though that everybody thinks of for fall, and had so much of a reputation at the time, but I don't think it deserves, is of course the Subculture. I love this palette. There's only a couple of shades that I don't get along with. The mattes were what everybody like had a problem with, and they don't cause me any troubles at all. I think they were a forerunner to all of these like really pigmented, like pressed pigment shadows that are ultra pigmented but quite kick-uppy. People weren't used to that sort of formula, and now they are. I think if this was released now, it wouldn't have had any of the issues, you know, people would have liked it. But What I don't like about it is the two shimmers. So Electric and Cube are terrible. They look beautiful on the eyes, but getting them onto your eyes is just so difficult. They're just nothing comes off, even when you use your fingers to try and like pick up the shade. So they're just too hard pressed in the pan. I don't know whether they've corrected that with future editions of this palette, but the grungy greens and the reds, and yeah, it's just falling a palette to me. Okay, we've got 3 left to talk about. This one I've not seen anyone else talk about. It's a UK based drugstore brand. It's Barry M, of course, and it's the Tiger palette. And from the outside you might not think fall, but then when you see the inside of the palette, I think this is a very fall colour story. You've got all of these orangey kind of browns, greens, a pop of red. It's all the colours that I think of when I think of fall in a really nice little package. And Barry M has great formula, particularly in these wildlife palettes. So definitely one that I'm going to be rocking during the fall time. I'm excited to bust it out again. It's been a long time since I played with this one. Next up we've got a palette by Ace Beauté. It's the Classical Paradise, so one of their 4 that came out in this bundle, but this one's definitely the fall inspired one of the bunch. That's the beautiful colours in the palette. And this one I've done a video on. It was when I first started my channel, and I remember taking a picture of all the autumn leaves changing in the park where I used to walk in my lunch break, and then I did a look inspired by that, and the thumbnail is like that picture. I'll have to link that so you can see, because this one definitely screams fall and just inspires me to create fall looks. So I'll have to link that so that you can see that, and you'll have to let me know if you want to see any looks with this one this fall. I think formula wise though, I've saved the best till last, and this is the Coloured Rain Safari Rain. This one was a limited edition palette. It came back once for a short while because everybody loved it and was asking for it to come back, and I've heard bad things about the Juicy Boost, but this one, I can't talk about the Juicy Boost because I don't own it, but this one has just got incredible quality. And yeah, this is definitely fall in a palette. It's the shimmers that stand out on this one. This orange shimmer, Tigress, Toucan, Lioness, all of the shimmers are ultra reflective on the eyes. They pick up with a brush as well, and they just look absolutely stunning. You can't go wrong with this palette. You can do neutrals, you can do grungy greens, you can do a really vibrant orange look. Just absolutely perfect for this time of year. So that's all my picks for fall from my collection. I'd love to know, guys, what's a palette that you reach for at this kind of time of year? And also I'd like to know, would you like to see any of these in action on my channel? I'm struggling to know what you'd like to see because a lot of my tutorial based videos don't get so many views, so maybe that's not what you want to see and you prefer this kind of video with me talking about my palettes. I'd love to know, because I want to make content that you guys actually want to see and that I'm not wasting my time making. So please drop me a comment and let me know that as well. But if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for clicking on this video, and I really would love it if you would consider sticking around. But all that's left to be said, guys, is hope you're having a lovely day or night wherever you are, and hopefully catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.